guess the next thing to talk about would, of course, be the biggest trade of the week. After originally being declared out of the running for Deshaun Watson, completely did a 180, and
Yeah.
guess who got traded to Cleveland? Believeland. Deshaun Watson, baby.
Yeah, that was not one of the teams I expected him to go to, given they have Baker Mayfield. And I feel really bad for Baker Mayfield. That man deserves a lot better
I,
than that,
I,
I feel
I
like.
think you're a sadist if you don't feel a little bit
That
bad
whole
for
city seems to really love him.
Baker
And, like,
Mayfield.
his commercials he does about, his home being the stadium. Like, I like those commercials. Like, they're cheesy and stupid, but, I like them.
They,
They're good.
they evict the man right out of his home, and it's like it's terrible. It's terrible because he ended up playing through a myriad of injuries last year. He had like a dislocated shoulder. He had
Yeah.
lower body injuries. He had all kinds of injuries, and he ended up playing. I think he played in all the games, but maybe one or two. So really gutted it out. And yeah, obviously, a lot of people in Cleveland are excited, but yeah, you're right. There's been some backlash from Cleveland fans about you know
It's just odd too,
because there
like
are more. Yeah,
what they gave up to get him when they had a quarterback like Baker Mayfield.
yeah,
To give up 3 first-round draft picks in the next 3 years,
yep,
in addition to a 2023 third rounder and a 2024 fourth rounder. I mean, like, you already had a good enough quarterback. Like,
yeah.
I
Baker.
just don't
Yeah,
understand the move there. Like, it just doesn't make a lot of sense.
yeah. I agree with you there. I think that he definitely deserved better as far as that goes. As far as the Browns go, took them
He took
as
them
far
as
as they've
far as
ever
they've
been.
gone in.
As far as they've been. A deep run into
Yeah.
the playoffs where they got narrowly beaten by the Chiefs. So guy obviously showed that he could play. He'd been with the Browns for 4 seasons. When he came in as a rookie in 2018 as the number one overall pick, he had what was then a rookie record. Obviously, Herbert's since come in and broken this record, but he had 27 touchdown passes. His first year, and obviously at this point, he hasn't gotten back to that. But that's still like the career high that he's had. But last year, let me
But
find
he's still
his.
taking the Browns to, good records every year, farther than they've been in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
yeah.
He's done
Last
a
year,
lot.
and go ahead.
I was going to say, if I was Browns fans, I'd be kind of upset to have, a player that's been on your team for that long, like you got as a rookie, that's
Yeah,
done really well for you, to just go and drop all of that to get, the hottest new thing that's available, which would be Deshaun
yeah,
Watson, really. He's been untouchable for, a year and a half because of his legal
yeah.
issues that finally
Exactly.
got resolved.
And you haven't seen him play. Let's just go
That
over
too,
So
that too.
Baker's numbers. He started 59 career games of 60 that he's appeared in. Um,
Damn,
he's
so a
got a
lot of
rec.
those was when he was hurt then, because he was pretty badly hurt,
Yeah,
last season.
he started 14 of 17 games last year, so he only missed 3 games despite how banged up he was, and he had a 6-8 record last year. Um, but the previous year in 2020 they were 11-5,
Right.
and he had 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. This past season he had 17 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. So still more
Yeah.
touchdowns than picks, but
Not a great
obviously,
season though, obviously, but like you got to look at the
right?
injuries. You got to look at the whole picture. You can't just take
Yeah.
the stats and what it appears to be.
Exactly, and for his career, he's got 92 touchdowns to 56 interceptions. So, he's still, got almost.
Not a fantastic when you compare it to elite quarterbacks, but for someone that
Yeah,
hasn't been in the league for that long.
and his record is 29-30. So, like he hasn't, he's about 500 as far as the record goes. So, I guess I could see maybe that being the reason why they wanted to move on from him and get Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, the last time that he did play was 2020, and he led the league in like numerous
Yeah, I
categories,
remember we talked
including
about before.
passing.
There was like
Yeah,
a list of 5 things. It was like first, third,
yep,
third, first.
yeah. He had like
You
a
know,
33-7 touchdown to INT ratio,
yeah.
and then like 4,800 passing yards. So when he last, the Texans had a terrible year,
It's
but
just shocking to
he
see a
was,
team like the Browns that did have a good roster and a good quarterback like that make a move
yeah,
like that. That was like one of the last teams
yeah,
never would have thought. Like when that
yeah,
dropped, it's like, really?
yeah, and then for them to go ahead and pay him what they are,
Yeah.
which is
And the amount of picks and just the
yeah,
obscene price tag in general, it just doesn't make sense for a team that went 11-5, 2 seasons ago. Last
Yeah, I
season
mean,
not as good, but Baker was banged up, so you gotta look at things in the full picture, not
yeah,
just
and
what the
they
end
had other
result
injuries
was.
too. I mean, they had
Right.
Odell was out for a number of times, and then when he
Hmm.
came back, there was obviously the whole issue with him and that whole distraction thing. So
Right. Right.
the Browns definitely weren't at full capacity. I mean, this is still a roster that's very talented, but then you take this new contract that he has. This what is it? A 5-year, $230 million,
I think
fully
so.
guaranteed. Yeah, it's fully guaranteed though. That's the real notable thing.
All of it? I thought only part of it was fully
No,
guaranteed.
no, the full contract is fully guaranteed, all 230 million. It's the first
So what if
contract
he gets
in
hurt in the
NFL.
first season and breaks his his
Yeah,
fucking
I mean,
leg?
then Cleveland just made a terrible mistake if that were to happen.
Oh
So
wow, that's insane.
yeah, and I
Oof.
mean he was close to being traded to he had just met with the Falcons and the Saints and the Panthers, but obviously deciding to go back to the Browns, and I would agree with that. I mean, of those teams, I think that they probably have the most talent. But
Yeah.
I mean, he takes up like 28% of their salary cap. They already have, elite pass rusher Miles Garrett. They're going to have to give, if they want to get David Ajoku to a long-term contract, they're going to need to offer him some money because they just got him on the franchise tag. So I mean, he's taking up like 28% of the team's salary cap on that fully guaranteed deal. So I mean,
Right.
hopefully it works out. It seems like they're in like win now mentality,
Yeah,
which
that's what I was going to say. It's kind of like the Rams move. It's like, well, even though they had a decent, above average quarterback and a good team, they're going for broke. They're just going to throw every pick they have and just hope that
yeah,
Deshaun Watson can take them to a Super Bowl. But I don't know. At this point, I'm kind of more interested to see what happens to Baker Mayfield.
yeah,
Like,
I would
are they going
agree.
to keep him as a backup? Which I don't really see
I
that
I couldn't
personally.
see that
I
happening.
really don't see
Do
that
you think
happening.
Baker would want to stay there after
No,
this?
absolutely
I
not.
mean,
I wouldn't if I was Baker. I mean,
yeah,
I'm thinking maybe Indy. There's a couple other teams that need quarterbacks
yeah,
as well, like
and then
the
any of those teams
Steelers,
that we just mentioned, obviously Carolina could be in the run for the
Carolina.
Falcons.
Right, right.
The Falcons did just restructure Matt Ryan's deal, but obviously they restructured it to, I think they reduced it to like 14 million as far as his cap hit for this season. Um, Obviously,
Sounds
yeah,
like they might try and draft somebody then at that.
yeah.
If they're probably going to stick with him, but as their starter, but maybe go for
Yeah,
somebody.
and then since we reported on the last show, obviously Mitchell Trubisky got signed by the Steelers on a 2-year deal,
What
so he's
what's it?
out of the
What's
running.
his nickname, David?
Yeah, the biscuit. Yeah, Mitchell Trubisky, the biscuit. Yeah, old biscuit getting signed to be
That
potentially the
always
starter
always
down
just
in
cracks me up. That is one of
down
the
in Pittsburgh.
funniest. The biscuit.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of
So
people in
yeah,
Washington wanted the biscuit, but I'm actually
yeah.
happier with Carson Wentz than him.
I think
Absolutely.
Wentz has a better upside, and I mean he's just as mobile, honestly.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, as long as those ankles hold up.
As long as those
But
ankles hold up. But they were sprains. We remember we talked
yeah,
about this.
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember thinking it was like worse than it was, but they were just sprains. So
And a low ankle sprain, not the dreaded high ankle sprain.
yeah, you do not want that
Yeah,
high ankle
yeah,
sprain that
yeah.
Jimmy's been dealing was
The
dealing with.
high ankle sprain will put you out 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens to Baker. I don't think he's going to be around, and because the reason I say that is the Browns made a corresponding move when they traded backup quarterback, who would have been on the depth chart number 3 quarterback, Case Keenum, to the Buffalo Bills for a 7th round pick. Obviously, the Bills need a new backup because they just lost the biscuit, as we mentioned.
Right,
And
right.
and then the Browns, in a corresponding move, signed former Dolphin and Colt Jacoby Brissett. So
Oh,
obviously, a guy
okay.
that's got
I
yeah,
didn't hear about that
yeah,
one.
yeah. So
Or I don't
Jacoby
remember us
Brissett
talking
is
about it.
coming in. So I think that all but signifies Baker being out.
Oh
Because
yeah, I
yeah,
definitely didn't know that. I didn't
yeah,
know. I for some reason I guess that one skipped by me. I did not hear that one. Yeah, that's
yeah,
crazy. If they picked up another backup, Baker's definitely
yeah.
gone.
So
I'm curious
Baker's
when
getting
that's going to
traded. Yeah,
happen. Yeah,
yeah.
like that's the news I'm now the most excited for at this
So
point. I want
now
to